Hi, everybody. The subject today for what I want to talk about is when people come to me and they ask me, like, how do you take care of your dolls and things like that? It's really not complicated. And for the most part, the care you would give to one doll, and I'm talking about a fine handmade doll that has beautiful fabrics, uh, costly materials, just something that is considered almost like a family heirloom type situation. The care would basically, in most cases, be the same. Common sense is, in 9 times out of 10, the best way to approach anything. Do not abuse or press your luck with something. Realize that no matter what method the doll is sculpted from, all the dolls are fragile. They're usually made in either a porcelain, a polymer, a wax, a paper mache, etc. And those are all fragile mediums. So they need care when you handle them, when you display them, when you just take care of them like in the long term, and not just for the piece itself, and to maintain the quality of the piece and make sure that it looks fresh and clean, but the garment as well. Now, in a lot of cases, people, their first instinct is, let's get a case, or put them in a curio, individual cases, plastic, whatever. You can do that if you want. That's nothing wrong with that. And not every case is that, accessible for everyone, whether it's for a room issue, whether it's, just because of the size of the doll. Naturally, the bigger the doll, the harder it's going to be to fully protect from head to toe. My suggestion is just maintenance. And the best thing to do for that is to remove the surface dust, because the dust will eventually kind of degrade not just the piece itself and add to discoloration, but it's going to eventually dull the fabric. The fabrics, no matter what it's made from, whether it's silk, lace, brocade, lame, it needs to be taken care of. My suggestion, as I said before, remove the surface dust. I actually, it sounds unorthodox, but I go around with my hair dryer. I put the hair dryer on a regular setting, go around, and I blow the surface dust off each piece. It's a little bit on the time-consuming side, but it is worth it, because if we care enough to spend the kind of money that we're talking about on these dolls, you want to make sure they look their best and they are durable in the future. Now, as far as, like when you're talking about pets or children, then naturally that would be a little bit better to have, cases, or to make sure they're in a situation where the pets or the children can't reach them, which would be, like shelving and things like that, or even in a room where it's kind of out of the beaten path as far as like a lot of foot traffic or animals, things like that. Every home is different, every circumstance is different, so you'd have to take your own situation into concern, obviously. But I would just say, make sure, as I said before, common sense has got to lead the way. As far as different mediums being treated different, I don't believe that. If you have whatever the doll is, let's say it's a porcelain doll or a cernet doll, a light damp cloth with a little non-abrasive cleaner is the best way to clean the actual piece. Like, as far as like to remove any, if you think it's dull or something from the actual piece itself, I would say that. Just make sure that you handle care when you're actually going to light the makeup or anything. Just be careful what you do there. As I say, light, damp cloth, non-abrasive cleaner. Dawn is always very good because it's very gentle and it's effective. Ivory Snow also is, because again, it's for gentle fabrics, gentle surfaces. So, take that into consideration with what you're doing. And of course, like when we're talking about, what I collect, I've said it before, Paul Kreese and Peter Coe. There is so many myths about the wax and how to take care of wax dolls, or people tell me they're going to melt, and they're absolutely not. They were made better than that, okay? Please. This is not, there is some wax in it, but it's has polymers, resins, all kinds of durable ingredients in there. These pieces are just as durable, same care method as anything else, and they do not melt. As a matter of fact, if you want to be extra cautious and very, very cold or out of the ordinary conditions, the wax would tend to crack in cold weather before it would melt in hot weather. It would literally have to go into like an oven for that to happen. And God forbid, and that would be true if God forbid we're talking about fire or anything like that. That's for any piece. It has nothing to do with wax. That's a no-brainer for anything. So, as I say, treat your wax dolls, whether it's wax over porcelain, whatever it is, the same way. Damp cloth, light, non-abrasive cleaner, remove any kind of surface dust, and just be careful of your surroundings. And the idea, as I say, pets, children, anything where it's like a high traffic area, keep the doll, or dolls, of course. Let's always talk plural when we're talking about our collections, out of what would be considered a more dangerous area than not. A lot of times with me, because I do live in an apartment, my apartment, it's not really small, but it's not large either. So I have dolls basically everywhere. Living room, bedrooms, you name it. And a lot of times I like to put them like on a situation where it might be higher, or maybe just so they're leveled and you can see each piece. And that's great, but I tell myself all the time, I need to take into consideration if, God forbid, something happens, or, something out of the ordinary, the higher the piece is, the more damage that, God forbid, can occur if it does hit the ground. Personally, I have carpet. I find it great for cushioning. If an accident does happen, we never want to invite it, but life happens as we're living. So take into consideration, if you have the doll somewhere, maybe even if you don't want to be as extreme as a carpet, a rug or something, just so if something out of the ordinary happens, that the piece wouldn't crash to the floor in a very hard surface, because naturally that's always going to add to problems. Also, when we're talking about in terms of if the piece should need any kind of repair, so many of these doll makers are deceased. I remember when Paul Kreese and Peter Coe were alive, they made detachable arms. So if something happened, that's where the most breakage would occur, in the fingers and hands. You could send the arm back instead of, the whole doll. Neither one is alive anymore. I know Anna Brahms is alive. She will take care of pieces for you. If you have a piece of hers that kind of needs a little bit of TLC, she will do that. But again, like we were talking the other day about Pat Thompson. Pat is no longer with us. So that is a basic porcelain, though, in most cases, what she used. Or when she was doing her resin pieces, there are doll hospitals and places that will work in something like that. You can reach out. I know Gigi's and Sherry's in Chicago has a doll hospital. You could try them, and something maybe more local to you. If you don't want to actually ship the piece and send it away, you would have to do, Googling in your area to see what's what. And just as much care and as much common sense as you could possibly put into everything, that's what you do. That's how I tell myself more than anything when I'm around my dolls and, just enjoying them. I want to enjoy them too. That's the whole key word. I don't want to have them somewhere where it's like off limits. I'm like so cautious. It's like off limits to me and I'm not enjoying myself. That's stupid. I bought them for me. I bought them to enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take care of them. As anything we have and we value, we take care of. The same goes for our dolls. Thank you for checking this out. I appreciate you. Be safe and be well.